Hello and welcome. This is TVC News at 7. We'll begin with the parading of the suspected killer of Ini-Ubong, the job seeker who was raped and murdered while honoring a fake job invitation in Uyo, the Akwa Ibom state capital. The suspect, Uche Okoro, has been described as a serial rapist and has now been in police detention after his arrest. Police said Mr. Okoro had confessed to the killing of Ms. Ubong, whose body he had buried in a shallow grave in his father's compound before it was exhumed for autopsy.
On the trail of the so-called kidnappers, they went, ICT people went into the media because Instagram was used to facilitate their meeting. And at the end of the day, pictures of Frank and the father came up, and the DPO Uran Division swung into action, arrested the father. By this time, Frank had escaped from the house through Oro to Calabar.
Meanwhile, it was a moment of sorrow, tears, and grief as the body of Ini-Ubong, the 26-year-old University of Uyo philosophy graduate, was laid to rest earlier today. Ms. Ubong, an orphan, was buried at her hometown, Nung Ita, Ikodexien, in Oru Anam local government area of Akwa Ibom State. Her death had sparked outrage, particularly on social media, leading to the arrest of the suspected killer, who the police say is not new to acts of sexual violence. Well, let's now bring in TVC News Correspondent Uche Okoro, who will take us through the last moment of Ms. Ubong's burial held earlier today. Uche, thank you for joining us at this time. You covered this burial. Talk us through happenings at that venue.
It is hard to say. It is hard to say. Some things are better experienced, or what you could hardly find. One could barely find the words to describe certain experiences. Like they say, you can't unsee some things, and you also cannot unexperience some things. I think that just summarize the mood in the entire local government, and I bet you the entire state of Akwa Ibom. It's been a very sober moment, I must say. Having to see old women crying like babies, that's not the kind of sight you want to behold. Having to see old women who could even barely walk, had to make their way to the burial venue and crying and sobbing like babies, and you're helpless. There's nothing you can do about it, because there's nothing you can do to bring back life. So it was a very sad moment, a lot of sorrow in the air. It was a very, very sad moment for family members, people who came from far and wide to witness the final paying of respects to Ini-Ubonmg. Her sisters tries to be strong. She has a couple of sisters and her elder brother. She's the last child, and they lost their parents when she was just 2 years old. So it just paints for you a picture of how far they have come as a family. I bet you those 4 siblings are very tightly knit family. They've tried to surmount the challenges of the last 27 years, and now they are having to bury their sister the same way they buried their parents. So it was a very, very, very sad one indeed. Very, very sad one indeed. No matter how hard I tried to describe it, it certainly wouldn't suffice to explain the amount of sorrow I was forced to endure today, indeed.
Indeed, and even shots from that venue, different people weeping, uncontrollable, actually. Well, let's talk about what the people are calling for. We know that the campaign for justice for Ini-Ubong trended a whole lot on social media, and it's actually still trending, especially today when her remains has been laid to Mother Earth. What is the call from the people, even at this critical period?
It is justice. I tell you, everybody cannot wait for this to go to trial, so that indeed the judiciary can prove what is said, that the judiciary is the last hope of the common man. People want to see this go to trial, and not just go to trial. They want to see diligent prosecution. Because oftentimes you have cases go to trial, and then, you know, due to lack of diligent prosecution, it is thrown out, or for due to the slow wheels of dispensation of justice in the Nigerian judicial system, you have this case take almost forever, because like they say in law, justice delayed is justice denied. So people want to see this go to court, they want to see diligent prosecution, and they want to see this brought to pursuit and tried to a logical conclusion within the shortest possible time. But there is one fear, that there are a lot of forces that are, you know, a lot of orgas at the top, in quotes, who are likely to do everything within their powers to truncate justice. And this family can be said to be a peasant family. They are not wealthy, according to Nigeria's economic categorization. They are I should say at the lowest rung of the social ladder here in the state. So their voice, they want their voice heard loudly, despite their social and economic status. So yes, indeed, it is people who what the people want. They want justice, even though there is a lot of fear that this justice may not come because of the forces that be. But I believe that in the coming months, the authorities, the government, the judiciary, the police, everybody will be watching to see how they treat this case, and I'm sure the global community as well.
And we know that justice in this case could even be somewhat ambiguous, because there is no amount of trial here, there is no amount of court sentencing that would bring Ini back. And that's the sad part of all of this. And but then, as you have said, we look forward to what happens in the coming days, weeks and months, because even as we speak, Jusun is on strike, so nothing is going on in the courts.
Absolutely, nothing is going on in the courts, but a lot still needs to be done before it goes to court. People want to see this go to court, but objective reasoning would require time for the police to create and put together a watertight case, such that the defense will have a very difficult time overturning. So it will take it might take some time for this to get to court. It should take a reasonable amount of time to get to court, for that matter, because we all are aware of the controversy that have trailed this story since it broke. So the police have a lot on their hands to ensure that they tie all loose ends, get all accomplices if there are, even though there are some insinuations that he acted alone. But whatever the case may be, the police needs to take its time, I must say, cautiously, you know, to create a watertight case, ensure that when this goes to court, they have done their due diligence, and the prosecution can have enough evidence, as it were, to try this case and secure a conviction.
All right, Uche, thank you very much for that update. Please stay safe.